Let every hope and every dream be born in us again. Let all the world sing with one voice. Let the people say amen.
I love the Millennium Prayer, and I love Lent. And for our Lenten season, which started, of course, Wednesday the 17th for Ash Wednesday, we're going to follow along with the Lenten booklet, Release and Renew, put out by Unity for this year. It's full of wisdom. You can download it at unity.org, and you can come by the church and pick up a copy right here in our patio. My talk title today is Mastering Forgiveness. And since February is the month of love, we're going to see how forgiveness is a part of love and loving. Now, the passage in the booklet is by Reverend Mark Anthony Lord, Unity Minister. First Living Word, forgiveness. Quote, forgiveness, when called upon, washes away every story, every hurt, every fear, and every belief in separation. It is the most transcendent and transcending spiritual practice I know of. I couldn't agree with that more, because as I've learned to forgive, I've gained strength. I've gained a perspective that's opened me to this very spiritual practice of knowing my oneness with God. Because what separates us are those things that cause us consternation. Now, that might be a peer in school when you were in grade school. It could be your first boyfriend or girlfriend. It could be your parents. It could be your boss. It could be the person you're married to right now. It could be your kids, your grandkids. It could be whoever's leading the nation. It doesn't matter. We have thoughts. We have opinions. We have challenges. And what's ours to do is when we allow ourselves to use the powerful practice of forgiveness, we can awaken a deeper sense of our commitment with the light. It's pretty powerful. Now, we have a beautiful passage which we probably all know already. It's Matthew 18:21 to 22. Then Peter came to him and said, Lord, how often shall my brother sin against me and I forgive him? Up to 7 times? Jesus said to him, I do not say to you up to 7 times, but up to 70 times 7. Now, I don't need to do the math. That's a lot of forgiveness. And when I look at my life, when I look at the issues that I grew up with, that still get stimulated now by someone cutting me off on the highway, or someone saying something, or observing something, or causing me any kind of thoughts that make me angry, resentful, downtrodden, depressed, unhappy, is the time for me to master forgiveness, to open my heart space, and to practice forgiving. Not saying whatever they did is right, not condoning it, but saying, I let go of my attachment to my fear of those bullies in school, or that teacher who just didn't like me, or my father's rage. I can love my father, knowing he did the absolute best with what he had to deal with. And I do love him unconditionally. And I was able to really reach that place in my relationship with my Father by doing this very work of forgiveness, of letting go of the old story. Because my experience is most of that stuff that's causing me pain is because I'm still attached to something that happened in the past. And it's time, boy, is it time to let go. So the next passage I'm going to look at is from the Unity minister William L. Fisher. Wrote a powerful book, The Mastercraft of Living. And he says, you must let the human self of you so merge with the divine self, your forgiveness is natural with you as you're breathing. Now, when we can do this, when we can allow ourselves, we're human. We're going to have resentment. You know, I know that you're just like me, that we haven't fully mastered forgiveness because mastering is the act of practicing. And what Reverend Fisher is saying here is that we need to merge our human self with our divine self and then allow our forgiveness to be a natural part of our being. For when we're in that state of oneness with our divine nature, it's easy to give, easy to forgive. God looks at us and has already forgiven us, accepts us unconditionally no matter what. And when we can step into that same place and look at the most challenging situations in our lives, that person we divorced, the chaos in our society, and we can look at the situation and not be attached to what it is and allow it to be in God's plan. Let ourselves be unconditional loving, seeing no matter what, each one of these people in our lives and in our society are one with God. They are doing the best with what they have to do, even if they are challenging us with situations of corruption or abuse or challenge. We can, as we master forgiveness, to have forgiveness be as natural as breathing in and breathing out. When we breathe in, we do naturally exhale, let go of it, forgive the breath, and receive the breath and let it go. The next quote I want to use is from Imelda Shanklin. Imelda Shanklin worked for Unity for many years. She's a great writer, and her books have been an inspiration in my life. She says, because it makes us right with God, forgiveness heals all ills, makes the weak strong, the cowardly courageous, the ignorant wise, the mournful happy. Now, how can this be true? How can just forgiveness, which Jesus said is very important, so important that we need to do it 70 times 7? And this is a powerful realization, because when we can see that when we forgive, it makes us right with God, because we're acting in a God way in the world with unconditional love, unconditional forgiveness. Not forgiveness, but forgiveness, period. And this gives us strength. When we forgive and allow the past to be the past, let the experiences of challenge just be those opportunities for us to forgive, for us to let go. Learn what we can learn from it and let God have it. It's like giving our life to God, which heals us, which renews us, which makes us very wise, because then we don't let things just ride. We don't let that anger and those resentments just cook on our stove. We can just forgive them and let them go. And guess what? We're going to have to forgive again and again and again. And here is where we realize that this mastering forgiveness is a spiritual practice that will transcend our experience and awaken us to our oneness with the divine, with God, with our Christ consciousness. Now I want to close my talk by turning to a profound wisdom called Ho'oponopono. Now this is ancient Hawaiian wisdom. Literally that means making right righter. And translated into something we can work with, it means forgive others to whom we are connected. We don't need to forgive other people's issues. We only need to forgive our own. Now, this practice was brought forth in a practical tool to forgive by Dr. Hugh Lin, a psychiatrist who knew this ancient wisdom of Ho'oponopono and used it in a psychiatric ward with criminal mental patients. And by using just this, every one of those people healed and were released from that ward. Now, Dr. Joe Vitale found out about Dr. Hugh Lin's practice and has written books, and he speaks about it in movies and at churches and events all over. And we're going to use it right now. It is 4 statements. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Practice this with me. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Now we can apply this to ourselves, because there's things that I still need to forgive in myself. And we can use this 4-statement practice to heal that and forgive that within ourselves. If someone irritates us, bothers us, maybe it's the remembrance of someone we were hurt by in the past, or it could be just trouble falling asleep. And if you just say this 7 times, I guarantee you'll feel lighter. You'll connect with that light and that oneness, and it's very practical. I love practical tools.
Step out